Canto 19. Summary. In his dream, Dante sees coming toward him an ugly, crippled woman with a pallid complexion and a stuttering tongue. As Dante looks at her, she transforms into a beautiful lady. Her limbs straighten, her tongue is loosed, and her complexion grows fair and lovely. She is a siren. She has bewitched sailors, including Ulysses, drawing them away from their proper ends. She speaks, but before Dante can respond to her, another lady comes down from above, calling for Virgil to come to Dante's aid. The dream Virgil, keeping his eyes on the heavenly lady, approaches the siren and exposes her ugliness by uncovering her belly, from which escapes such a foul smell that Dante wakes up. In short, the siren is a bad affection that a rightly ordered love would identify and set aside. Dante cannot do this by himself. Grace, in the form of the heavenly lady, must direct the will, in the form of Virgil, to expose the base passion symbolized by the siren. Dante awakes to find the sun already shining down on them. The morning of Easter Tuesday finds the pair at the stairs that take them to the next terrace. The angel there welcomes them, brushing Dante's forehead, removing the fourth P. Immediately afterwards, the travelers hear the fourth beatitude, Beate qui lugent, or Blessed are those who mourn, which corresponds with the vicious habit purged in the terrace of the slothful. The slothful refuse to endure hardship, even when that hardship would have worked for their good. Those who have conquered the sin of sloth, on the other hand, are blessed in their mourning, for they are now willing to undergo the trial for the sake of the good that will come of it. As they make their way, Virgil explains to Dante what his dream was about. He names the siren, that primitive witch that alone is wept for above us, by the souls being purged of their avarice. The dream was a picture of how man is set free of her influence and attraction. Emerging from the stairway onto the ledge, Dante hears Psalm 119:25 being sung in Latin, "My soul clings to the dust." And indeed, the souls here are lying prone on the ground with their faces in the dirt. He begins a conversation with one who identifies himself as a successor of Peter. This is Pope Adrian V, though Dante the poet confuses him slightly with Adrian IV. He confesses to the pilgrim the nature and scope of his avarice, and what that avarice does in the heart of man. When Adrian discovers that Dante has been kneeling next to him in reverence, he tells Dante to stand up, for he is a co-servant with you and the other of one power. With that he bids Dante leave, so that he can continue on with his work of sanctification. Canto 19. The Second Dream and the Avaricious. In the hour when the warmth of the daytime, conquered by the earth or sometimes Saturn, cannot counteract the cold of the moon, when the geomancers see in the east their greater fortune rising before dawn on paths that stay dark for it but little, there came to me in a dream a female stutterer with squinting eyes, twisted feet, with crippled hands and a pale complexion. I gazed at her, and as the sun comforts the cold members that the night air weighs down, so too did my gazing loosen her tongue, and thereafter wholly straightened her limbs in a short time, and was giving color as love would desire to her pallid face. As soon as her speech was thus untethered, she began to sing, and only with toil could I have turned my gaze away from her. I am, she was singing, I am a sweet siren, bewitching sailors on the sea, so very full of joy am I to hear. I turned Ulysses from his rambling course by my song, and he that lives with me leaves rarely, so fully do I satisfy. The siren's mouth had not yet closed again when a lady appeared, holy and quick, alongside of me to make her confused. "Oh, Virgil, Virgil, this one, who is she?" Fiercely she was saying, and he was coming, eyes fixed on that dignified one alone. The other he was seizing, opening her front, rending her clothes, showing her gut. The stench escaping from it woke me up. I moved my eyes, and the good master said, "At least 3 times I called you, rise and come. Let's find the pass through which you may enter." Up I rose, and all the sacred mountains' circles were by now filled with the bright day, and we went with the new sun on our backs. Following him, I carried my forehead as one who has it burdened with worries, who makes himself the mid-arch of a bridge. When I heard, "Come, here one travels across," spoken in so soft and kind a manner as no one hears in this mortal district. With open wings like the wings of a swan, he who spoke to us turned us up above, between the two walls of the hard boulder. After he moved his feathers, fanning us, stating that qui lugent are beati, whose souls shall be mistresses of comfort. "What's wrong, that you gaze only at the ground?" my guide began to say to me after we had both somewhat gone past the angel. "I am forced on with such apprehension," I said. "A new vision bends me to it, such that I cannot shake the thought from me." "You beheld," he said, "that primitive witch, who alone is now wept for above us. You beheld how man frees himself from her. Let it be, and beat the ground with your heels. Turn your eyes to the lure the eternal king turns round with the magnificent wheels." As the falcon, that first looks at its feet, and thence turns to the cry, straining forward from desire for the meal that draws him there. So I made me, and as much as the rock was split to give way for one who goes up, I went till the circle began once more. When I had come out onto the fifth wheel, I saw people weeping along the way, lying on the earth, all of them turned face down. "Adhaesit pavimento anima mea," I heard them say with sighs so very deep their words could scarcely be comprehended. "O you elect of God, whose sufferings both justice and hope make less difficult, straighten us toward the stair that leads higher. If you come safe from having to lie down and wish to find the quickest way forward, let your right always be on the outside." So the poet asked, and so was answered a little before us. Thus in his words I learned the other thing that was hidden, and turned my eyes to the eyes of my Lord. Wherefore with a glad sign he assented to what my look of desire requested. Since I could act according to my sense, I drew myself over to that creature whose words before had made me notice it, saying, "Spirit, in whom weeping matures that without which no one can return to God, rest a while for me from your greater care. Who you were and why your backs are turned up. Tell me, and if you desire that I beg things for you from there where living I move." And he said to me, "Why heaven turns our backs to itself, you will know, but first, scias quod ego fui successor Petri. A beautiful river between Sestri and Chiavari flows down, and from its name my blood adorns itself with its title. For little more than a month I felt how the great mantle weighs on him who guards it from mire. All other cares seem like feathers. My conversion, ah me, was belated, but when I was made the Roman shepherd, then I discovered the life of deceit. I saw my heart was not quieted there, nor could I have risen more in that life. Thus love for this life was kindled in me. Until that point I was a wretched soul, separated from God, greedy for all. Now, as you see, I'm disciplined for it. That which avarice does is here disclosed in the purgation of inverted souls, and the mountain has no pain more bitter. Even as our eyes did not raise themselves on high, fixed only on temporal things, here justice submerges them to the earth. As avarice extinguishes our love for every good, whereby our works are lost, so justice holds us fast here in this place, tethered and captive in the feet and hands. And as long as it pleases our just Lord, so long will we stay immobile and prone. I had knelt down and was wishing to speak, but as I began, and he was aware of my reverence through hearing only, "What cause," he said, "has so bent you over?" And I said, "Because of your dignity, my conscience bit me standing up straight." "Straighten your legs, rise up, brother," he said. "Do not wander. I am a co-servant with you and the others of one power. If ever you understood that holy gospel sound that declares neque nubent, you will clearly perceive why I so speak. Now be gone. I wish you to stay no more, for your remaining interrupts my tears, with which I mature that which you have said. I have a niece there, named Aligaya, good in herself as long as our household does not make her wicked by example, and she alone is left to me back there.